years. The World's Columbian Exposition of 1893 in Chicago is a breathtaking celebration of innovation and culture. This grand fair, honoring the 400th anniversary of Columbus's voyage, dazzles with its magnificent architecture and marvels like the towering Ferris wheel. It's a shining symbol of progress, showcasing the wonders of our age.
It's hard to imagine that Chicago looked more like ancient Rome a short 131 years ago, and this penthouse is a relic of its gilded past. You ever wonder what it's like to live in a penthouse above the Bean in Chicago? Well, this penthouse just sold for a little over $3.5 million, and you have to look at this. Check out this great room. We've got 25-foot high ceilings in here. Now, the building itself was built in 1895 and was originally the headquarters of Montgomery Ward, which is the precursor to Sears. So this space right here originally actually used to be what we think was outdoor space, given how you have this limestone inside. Typically this would be reserved for like a loggia or an outdoor space, but here it's brought right inside into this great room. Indeed, it was an outdoor space. Actually, it was an open air terrace to be precise. So for a bit more historical context on this remarkable building that I have the pleasure of sharing with you, it was once actually the tallest building in the city of Chicago, standing at 394 feet, built by architects Schmidt, Garden, and Martin from 1895 to 1899. This building was constructed as the headquarters for retailer Montgomery Ward, who were pioneers in the mail order business. They had 0 traveling salesmen, which was very uncommon back then, just a catalog, and then this, their flagship store. Montgomery Ward was essentially Amazon 100 years ago before the internet. Now this is where it gets interesting. The original building had a striking, steep Italianate pyramid above the current top of this building, which has been since turned into a sun deck where you see me walking across the frame here. More on this in a moment, why it's no longer there. This pyramid featured a 20-foot tall sculpture called Progress, lighting the way for commerce, in the form of a naked woman holding a torch towards the heavens in one hand and a caduceus reaching out in the other, bouncing on her left foot. Now this was just one of 3 massive Diana statues built around this time. The second Diana statue lived atop the original Madison Square Garden Tower in New York City, and the third was a gilded weather vane sculpture on top of the agricultural building at the 1893 World Columbian Exposition. Then in the 1920s, additional floors along either side of the main tower were added. And this is where it gets interesting. In 1947, right after World War II, for some unknown reason similar to many of these stunning old world buildings, not only across America, but the world, the pyramid portion of the tower along with the sculpture were removed. The statue was cut into about 30 pieces before it was lowered, and one of Chicago's prominent citizens, who's unknown, actually has the bust and head of the statue. A fun fact about the views in this penthouse: the company's founder, Aaron Montgomery Ward, had his office here facing over the lake, and he was so insistent that no buildings be built on the east side of Michigan Avenue that he went to the Illinois Supreme Court to ensure that the land and views of Lake Michigan remain protected forever, meaning this view in front of this penthouse is also landmarked from development. And strangely enough, the only structure that actually exists on the eastern side of the avenue is the temporary Art Institute structure from the 1893 World's Fair. And I say temporary because the mainstream narrative is that this World's Fair, all these ornate buildings that you see, They were built out of a plaster material and they were all torn down after the fair, except this one building here, which from the pictures, it looks pretty substantial. It doesn't look like it was built to be a temporary structure. What really excites me about this building as an architecture nerd is that this is a prime example of a preserved city beautiful movement built. So essentially at the turn of the 18th going to the 19th century, America had this wave of architecture sweep through major cities like New York, Chicago, San Francisco, where they were building in the Beaux Arts style, which is basically like a big cauldron of every single architectural historical design element from all the years. So you have Greek, Roman, Egyptian revival, all poured into what we have here. And this is shown in the columns, these arches with the flowers inlaid in here. Even look up. Look at this light fixture. Look at the ornate details in that light fixture. And this is all according to the mainstream historical narrative. But when you do come across buildings like this, you have to wonder, could we actually build something like this today? And if we could, why don't we? Because I prefer this to, if you follow me, Blake, I prefer buildings like this any day to buildings like that behind me. In my mind, that is brutalist as can be. That inspires nothing. But a home like this, you walk in here and you see this. Which one are you picking? Now off of this gorgeous old world great room, we have the staircase here in the penthouse, which in direct contrast to the great room is a very modern steel floating staircase all the way up 4 flights. Now as far as stats on the rest of this mansion, it's 6,400 square feet of living space with 4 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. And unfortunately, the rest of the home has been fully modernized. There are no more old world original features in the space, but I wanted to walk you through the rest of the space anyway. So off of the den, we have your wet bar. What is this even, is this a wet bar? Yeah. Then opposite this built-in media wall, we've got your kitchen with a counter island dividing off the space with seating for 4. And as you can see, all the appliances are stainless steel and have been all modernized. Then off of the dining room here, I actually love these 3 French doors, which actually could open up the space, giving it a bit more character. Back to the stairwell heading up to the 2nd floor, there's actually a landing in between with a glass window installed around the limestone arch, giving you a vantage point from the top of this great room. As far as those 4 bedrooms, there was only one that was staged. Here's a quick little look, which had a pretty decent sized ensuite bathroom with a glass standing shower and built-in jacuzzi, which I think, is that a TV or fireplace? Up on the 4th floor, we have your library. And I love how they actually installed this skylight letting in natural light, because if you remember, this wasn't actually the top of the building in the past. There was the pyramid on top. So adding the skylight was a nice touch to bring in some light into this space. Now we're up on the 4th floor of the penthouse, and this is actually terrace number 4 out of 5. This is your entertaining terrace. So you have outdoor seating here with your dining table, couch for hanging out, and this is pretty sweet. You have an outdoor covered kitchen here with your grilling station all built in here on the back. Nice little prep area here. This is your bar. And for a little frame of reference, look how big the terrace is. This is the kind of terrace you'd have at a hotel, not at your private residence. And then from this bar, look at the views of the blue of Lake Michigan, really popping now as the sun gets higher in the sky. And as we make our way back on the terrace, I love the eastern facing views for the lake and the peace and serenity. But here, you get the energy from downtown Chicago. You've got one of the tallest buildings in the entire world right there in your view, and making our way all the way up to the 5th story of this penthouse, we have your 5th outdoor space. So we are on the very top now of this building where you have unobstructed views in every single direction. It doesn't get much better than this as far as weather in Chicago. Look at this. I really can't think of a better place that combines unique American history, just stunning views and city living combined with, I mean, look at that. Look how blue Lake Michigan is. I'm really curious. I want you to comment down below. What do you prefer? The modern kind of more white box apartments, or something like this that has a lot of history and a lot of character? So there you have it, episode 2 of Landmarked. Let me know what you think. This has been my most enjoyable video series to date that I've made, combining real estate with things I actually love, like history. I have a deep, deep passion for history, and I'm guessing if you stuck around this far, you do as well. So let me know what you want to see next in this series. And with that, I hope you're well watching this, and I'll see you in the next episode.